All right, guys.
Making
Good
it sound
evening.
always fun.
I'm calling the open session of the Monday, June 8th, 2026, Kent County Board of Education meeting to order. I'm looking for a motion for approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. McKenzie has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Rhodes made the second. I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. I'm going to ask for a motion for closed session for the following reasons. One, applicants for new hires, resignations, volunteers, transfers, extra pay for extra duty, and any other personnel matters. The reason for that being that public discussion of applicants and employee names and personal information could discourage people from working for the board and contain sensitive personal and biographical information. Personnel information is protected from disclosure under the MPIA. A second reason to is obtain legal advice from counsel regarding unit composition in labor relations. The reason for that being the substance of discussion is protected by attorney-client privilege. And finally, the reason for going into closed session is discussion of negotiations with Kent County Public Schools bargaining units. And the reason for that is to maintain the integrity of the collective bargaining process. I am looking for a motion to go into closed session for those reasons.
Make a motion.
Mr. Rhodes has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McKenzie has made the second. Is there any discussion? I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. We're going into closed session. We will be back in open session at 6:30 PM. Thank you. of Education meeting. First thing I want to do is report on closed session. We met to talk about personnel to be voted on in open session, other personnel to get legal advice on unit composition, and to finalize some collective bargaining. No actions were taken in closed session. Ms. Swanson, one of the last times we'll ask you to do something for us. Will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. I'm going to be looking for a motion to approve our consent agenda. Items on the agenda are approval of the minutes of the May 11th, 2026 open session of the Board of Education, the donation approval, update to policy series 7000, and personnel actions that we discussed in closed session. I am looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. McKenzie's made the motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Queen's made the second. Is there any discussion? I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous, Ms. Manley. All righty, Ms. Manley, is anybody signed up for public participation? So I'm going to just remind everybody, because we ran into this a month ago, this is your one and only chance for public participation. Don't come back to me at the end of the meeting and say you didn't know that. So I'm just telling you now. All righty, does anybody want to speak? All righty, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. McComas.
Welcome, everyone. So tonight is a night of celebration by and large. So I'd like to kick off our celebrations with our Standing Ovation Award. So I'm going to ask our Board of Education members if you will come down, and I'm going to keep you down here for quite a while this evening while we have lots of recognition. So if we could all come down, and once you get in place, I'll call forward our first Standing Ovation Award. I feel like we should have music, right? Like walkout music. So if I could ask Mr. Schattweiser to come forward for his exceptional contribution in support of Kent County Public Schools and all things related to the arts program, and for being a relentless advocate for children and for artists and our teachers. So thank you so much. So our next standing ovation award goes to our community member, Mr. Robert Ortiz, for exceptional generosity in his donation of equipment to Okay, let's see what's next. Our next is our personnel recognition. I think before we go to the video, I have one that I would like to recognize that did not make it into our monthly video program. This goes to Mr. Dan Hushin for the Navigator Award for exceptional leadership in navigating complex personnel matters, as well as expanding our recognition program. If you go ahead and play the video, it will be brief. So this is our typical monthly personnel awards.
Nominated as the Junior Navigator Award, we have fulfilled the role of the only school psychologist this year. And her true flexibility to meet the needs of all 5 schools. Toby's dedication has been amazing, and her willingness to jump in at any time. She is needed and has made all of us feel support. So congratulations. Nominated by your colleagues, and here's a little something that they has gone above and beyond in her new role of juggling 3 schools, scheduling meetings around the various components in every school, being flexible to all the moving parts. She also navigates, guides, and supports with all the questions, paperwork, and filing, making sure everyone is.
Wow, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Rebecca Fies Navigator Award as evident in a 30-year career in education throughout 3 decades. She has successfully navigated a wide array of challenges. Service to students is recognized, respected, enduring. Not congratulations. And I know it does not do justice to 30 years of Mr. Dr. Porter, I should say. Through his leadership, dedication, and commitment to students and staff, Mr. Dr. Porter helps create an environment where all students are equipped to achieve their highest potential. Mr. Porter's leadership, collaboration, and dedication continue to make a lasting impact on students, staff, and the community.
Congratulations.
Okay.
I didn't know it was yours and mine first. Awesome job.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Come stop in here.
Awesome achievement. Achievement.
Wait for you. Congratulations. Was a award winner.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Hessian and Mr. DeVilio for helping to pull all those together each month. And at this point, please stay standing. I know you're still standing, but Mr. Hessian's going to do our retiree recognition.
Thank you, Dr. McComas, all of our school board members. Tonight's a special night, as we do every year. We say goodbye, but it is a good goodbye. Celebrate a goodbye to 7 of our longtime staff who have served our staff and students here in Kent County Public Schools. We have 7 folks tonight that will be celebrating, combined with their years of experience, over 225 years of service. So that's outstanding. So let's give that a round of applause real quick. And Dr. McComas, if I can actually have you come stand at the table so we can hand out our award, that'd be great. So, as I said earlier, we have 7 staff who have decided to retire between July 1st and November 1st, and we're going to be honoring all of them tonight. Unfortunately, some have not been able to join us in person, but we are still going to honor them. So first, we have one of our wonderful high school custodians, Justine Skinner, who has 29 years of service to Kent County Public Schools. Justine is not here tonight, but we will certainly, well, but we will certainly make sure she receives her gift. One of Justine's other counterparts Ms. Valerie Sorrell, 27 years of service. And she will be retiring August 1st. And then the other high school custodian counterpart, the Three Musketeers, Charlotte Blackston, with 23 years of service. And although we would have allowed them to come here tonight, you're absolutely right, President McGee, they are probably working. So, doing an outstanding job for us. Next, also not in attendance tonight is one of our longtime special education instructional assistants, Cheryl Hartnett, who has 30 years of service. Also not in attendance tonight is Laura Barrett, who joined our school system 8 years ago with many years of prior service in another state. Unfortunately, she was not able to attend, but we would like to honor her as well. Now, in attendance tonight, one of our long-time cafeteria managers pours her heart and soul into ensuring that our kids are fed every day, has taken her job very, very seriously with a lot of pride. I have gotten to know her a lot over the last 5 years. We're certainly going to really miss you, Miss Shelley, but if everyone can join me in honoring cafeteria manager from Garnett Elementary School with 26 years of service, Michelle Atkinson. Thank you so much, Ms. Shelley. Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, we say goodbye to our Director of Teaching and Learning, Gina Giacomowitz, who has had over 35 years of service to Kent County Public Schools and 40 years educating students in the state of Maryland.
Yeah. One more. I'm gonna go ahead, and our next is our student member of the board recognition. So naming Alden Elizabeth Swanson as our 2024-2025 and 2025-26 Kent County Student Member of the Board. Whereas Alden Elizabeth Swanson has enhanced her knowledge of the governance of the school system by tirelessly serving as student member of the board during these 2 years. Whereas she has given of her own time to serve with the Kent County Public Schools Board of Education, and whereas she has represented the students of Kent County Public Schools by providing input and information to our board members and stakeholders, and whereas she has personified integrity through high moral and ethical standards while serving as our student member of the board, now therefore be it resolved that the Kent County Board of Education does hereby officially recognize Alden Elizabeth Swanson for service and dedication to her position as student member of the board for Kent County, Maryland for the school years 24-25, 25, and 26. Passed and approved this 8th day of June, 2026. So there we go.
We got some small mamas here.
Whatever's happening.
Oh, my.
Okay, thank you everyone for all of our celebrations, and thank you for our members who came this evening for those recognitions. At this point, I think we turn it back over to you, Mr. Hushin.
I think we have to honor our new student.
Oh, okay, yes, now's the time to do that, sorry. I think Ms. Hempster, are you able to come up and present our new SMOB for the next school year? Thank you. Yeah, right, what a title.
Good evening, Dr. McComas, members of the Board of Education and our community. It is my honor this evening to introduce Kent County High School student Eamon Lindsay, who will serve as a 2026-2027 Kent County Public Schools student member of the board. Eamon is an outstanding student leader who has demonstrated a strong commitment to service, civic engagement, and student advocacy throughout his high school career. At KCHS, he serves in the Student Government Association, contributes to student communications through the Friday Fix broadcast, and has helped organize voter registration efforts, spirit events, and student leadership initiatives. Beyond KCHS, Eamon has represented Kent County students at the state level through the Maryland Association of Student Councils Civic Engagement Committee, where he researched education legislation and presented findings to student leaders from across Maryland. He also serves on the State Superintendent Student Advisory Council, providing student perspective directly to state education leaders. Eamon is actively involved in Interact Club, National Honor Society, theater, and varsity tennis, demonstrating his commitment to leadership both inside and outside the classroom. His ability to connect with others, listen to the diverse perspectives, and advocate for students makes him exceptionally well prepared for this role. As principal of Kent County High School, I am proud to recommend Amen and in confidence that he will represent the students of Kent County with professionalism, integrity, and a genuine desire to make a positive impact. Please join me in welcoming our 2026-2027 student member of the board, Amen Lindsay.
Yeah. Amy, why don't you come on up to the microphone? So, I don't know if you want to say a few words. Yes, or right, his many talents. You're tall. You look taller in the jacket. Doesn't it? You look so tall.
I am so incredibly honored and privileged to be accepting this nomination. I remember in 7th or 8th grade, my sister Grace ran for the student member of the board, and I wore a wig and dressed up as Napoleon Dynamite to get her elected. And now she's here with me, supporting me as I take on this new chapter of my educational career. And Alden, you were tough competition last year, so I got mad at you for that. And yeah, I have big shoes to fill, and I'm so just so honored to be filling in your role, and I hope I can do the best I can to hopefully fill those shoes. Thank you so much.
Good stuff.
Rolling right along.
That's right.
I will say this, his sister still owe him a costume dress up because she's not.
Very good. Well, we have a whole year, so. Okay.
All right, next item, Dr. McComas, board president and school board members. Tonight, before you, we bring forth the ratification of the Kent County Educational Support Professional Association negotiated agreement. This is an update to our existing 3-year agreement. We worked with representatives from the Support Professional Association earlier this spring, and with your support, we have reached an agreement that starts with a 1-step and 2% COLA increase for all support staff members, as well as an agreement to engage in a wage and compensation study with that unit during the 26-27 school year. So without further ado, the administration recommends the approval of an updated agreement between the Kent County Educational Support Professional Association and the Kent County Board of Education.
All righty, thank you, Mr. Hutchins. So I'm looking for a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. McKenzie's made the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Queen has made the second. Is there any discussion? I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, Ms. Manley. All righty. Do we need to sign?
Yes, we're going to do a signing at the table. The support staff does not have anyone here tonight with them, but we have a number of folks that can sign on our side, and then we'll send it out to their team for electronic signature. So if I could have Board President Dr. McComas, and if I could also have our team, Craig Kirby, Gina Giacomotes, and Tom Porter, join me over at And before I move on to the next item, I would just like to give a shout out to the Educational Support Professional Association and their team for the true partnership and collaboration that they have demonstrated, not only this year, but, last year as well, dealing with the difficult staffing decisions we were in because of our budget. They have been a wonderful group to work with. And, as I exit July 1st, I just want to emphasize the importance of the relationship between the admin, the board, and our associations, and how much that has an overlying impact on the work we do to educate our students each and every day.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mr. Hushin.
All right, next item, also perfect segue, another just an outstanding group to work with, truly very collaborative, understanding, their unit was impacted much more significantly last year, but it really is a testament to the partnership that we have with them to be able to work together to bring forth a proposed ratified agreement tonight, which is actually pretty historic for us, as we have had to work very creatively, not just this past year, but really over the last 5 years, 6 years or so, to meet the statutory salary requirements that we have been mandated to implement under the blueprint. So tonight, this proposed agreement reflects a restructured conventional salary scale, as well as an updated career ladder that we started to implement last year that meets the blueprint mandated $60,000 minimum starting salary. So without further ado, the administration recommends the approval of the updated KCTA collective bargaining agreement for the 26-27 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Hushin. So I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. McKenzie's made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Dorsey's made the second. Is there any discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Ms. Manley?
Thank you, and if Board President, Dr. McComas, and our team, if you can join me at the table, and Cheryl and Gary, if you could also join us. And again, I just want to thank you both publicly. It's been an honor to work with you all. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Hushin. Okay, so next is our monthly attendance monitoring, progress monitoring update. Again, I'm pleased to see that we can see ongoing progress throughout the year. This data is good through Monday, June 1st. We see overall system improvement. Chronic absenteeism is down by 9.9% over the course of the year. We see year-to-date attendance overall is right at 94.03%. That is a 1.69% improvement over the same time last year. 94% is the state threshold and expectation, so we are right there, and hopefully over the next few weeks it won't drop. And last 30 days, again, you see improvement there. Just to keep the attendance monitoring a little more interesting each month, I'm trying to bring forward different elements of attendance. Here this month, I'm highlighting each school's pattern over the last several years, and you can visualize the improvement that's been made over time. We see Galena Elementary has improved overall 2% gain in the last 4 years, and you can see it's a 2% over last year as well. So Galena's on the rise there. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Garnett, likewise, you see significant improvements, 2% over the last 4 years. And again, you can sort of see that ongoing work and at that school. Rock Hall Elementary is holding at 93%, and they overall all have a 1% gain over the last 4 years. Kent County Middle School, Mr. Buckle, I'm proud to say, is leading the pack with 96% attendance for the middle school this year. And they have the highest gains over the last 4 years. So way to go, Mr. Buckle. I know you're here with us tonight. So please make sure your team, your attendance team, and our community schools facilitators know that their work is showing itself in all the right ways. And then Kent County High School is at 93%. You see that also has, 2% gain over the last 4 years. And you see their improvement right here. So thank you. And that concludes our monthly attendance monitoring. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, I'm less familiar with the attendance motivators for the middle school. I know at the high school we have different attendance campaigns, but what's going on at the middle school?
Well, I'm going to invite Mr. Buckle up to the microphone since you are here this evening to share some of the many strategies that we are implementing since it is yielding great data. Not yet. That's okay. Mr. Lindsay would be asking rigorous interrogation questions as well.
Interrogating me, put me on the spot. You know, it's been a long day. So this year we did a lot of things. So we did a school-wide dojo. So every grade, every day, our attendance secretary, whoever is the highest grade in attendance, the whole entire grade gets a point.
Oh, wow.
And then each quarter, we did that class, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, whoever got it, got some type of reward for a class. And then we also did quarterly rewards for those students that showed up. So if you were 94% or better in attendance, you got something. If you were 94% or better and you had all passing grades and no discipline, which we called our show up and shine, you got a really big thing. So like we were able to take kids to a community picnic. We did we got the whole theater for one morning and they got to watch that new movie, Goat. So we took like 160 some students to that. So a lot of big incentives. So it's just been a push all year to kind of gain those points, win for your class, but also
Like school-wide, like grade-wide, that's cool.
so grade-wide win, but also individually, if you are 94% or better, plus you have really good grades and you're not getting in any trouble, you get the big prize.
Gotcha, cool.
It works in the middle school too, because my daughter goes to the middle school. Every once in a while, I give my kids a mental break because they, good students. So I said, Pepe, want to stay home with daddy? He was like, I don't know if we're going to get pizza or donuts, Dad, so I'm going to go to school. I was like, go to school?
Good job,
But
Miss
she
Queen.
definitely went. She definitely went. She said she wanted her attendance streak to keep going because she was trying to beat out the other grade or something. But she's
So I will say that Ms. Clark, our community school specialist, has really been a driving force. That was one of her initiatives to help combat the chronic absenteeism rates. Done a phenomenal. A lot of these incentives were all kind of from her, initiatives and then her team that she put together.
Good job.
But I'll take credit.
Thank you, Mr. Buckle.
And I would even say we can get that attendance to 98% if we had a new middle school.
That's right, and enrollment growth. Very good. So thank you, everyone, for that. And next month, I'll bring the year-end data. So hopefully it'll be still at that 94 mark for the whole system, I'm hoping. Lastly, for my report, I want to celebrate good news and then provide one more thank you to folks. So our good news we just received today, and I want to thank Dr. Porter, Ms. Jacomowitz, and Dr. Keene for their tireless work together around bringing forward and applying for a pre-K 3-year-old expansion grant. We originally were told that we were not getting our grants for this year. We had applied for 2 so that we could expand our 3-year-old program services at Galena and Rock Hall Elementary. And we were brokenhearted when we didn't get that. But coincidentally, last week, we had MSDE came to visit and inspect our current 3-year-old program, which we just stood up this year for Garnett. And while they were doing the visit, Dr. Porter was quick on his feet and talked to them about the fact that we were disappointed that our grants weren't approved. And they really could see the quality program that we're offering and the needs of our community. And so our state representative went back to MSDE and asked their boss if our application could be reconsidered. And it was, and we just received in writing today confirmation that we are getting the grant to fund a pre-K expansion grant for 3-year-olds. And it will be at Galena Elementary for next year. So, Dr. Porter, I don't know if there's anything you want to add or not. So, thank you. And just on that opportunity, I'd like to thank Dr. Porter. He has served as our Blueprint coordinator, and of course, the early childhood is part of the Blueprint. So, take it away, Dr. Porter.
I think the only thing that I would add is it was really a combination of factors coming together, the work that our team had done, including our finance team, to revisit our budget, which we originally were asking for nearly $800,000 in this grant. So we cut that back significantly while still, submitting a detailed plan to implement a quality program. But also our partners at the Presbyterian Church of Chestertown, the MSDE representative was really taken in by the fact that the church donated nearly $70,000 to create that classroom space that each of our board members toured right around this time last year. So it remains a phenomenal program. We received the highest marks in terms of the risk assessment for operating that program this year, which is not anything that any of us did. It was largely the people that were there in that classroom on a daily basis, impacting those lives of 20 families. And we're just very fortunate to be able to do that again in another area of the county this coming school year.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Mr. Porter, real quick. How many students will we be able to house at Galena? Would it be 20 as well?
So now begins the fun work. We received funding for up to 20 students, so those would be students that are at or below 300% of the federal poverty level. So, but the way this grant works is we get funded for the number of students that we enroll in the program. So we shoot for 20, but if we find 15 students that are eligible, we receive the funding for those 15. And then again, that's all startup money. So then next year we would have that money in our local account as part of our per pupil.
Yes, good job, everybody.
Also, we can
Good
only
job.
house.
So we're also fortunate to not be in the situation we were last year with Garnett, where we did not find space in that building to house 20 students, but we're confident Mrs. Yoder at Galena has identified a couple of options for us actually where we could house the 20 students.
The other part of the good news is for people who we thought were going to lose their jobs for reduction in force 2 weeks ago because of this, that won't happen now.
Right.
Correct? Am I correct?
it's a combination of some folks have resigned and retired.
Okay.
And so between that and then this, we're able to make sure that no one is losing because of the RIF.
Good to hear.
Awesome. Righty.
So you mean, so we saved all 16, but on top of the 16, still be able to hire additional? Good. Dr. McCombs,
Double
quick
win.
question.
Go ahead.
Question before you move on, because a lot of people are still in the community saying that student enrollment has declined, but we're in the positive this year, correct, already? Is that correct?
We are. The enrollment is not dramatically increased, right? It's not like suddenly we have hundreds of extra students. It is a modest increase, but it is an increase. But again, it's not, hundreds of students.
Yes,
But
and then with that increase, the kids that go to the Presbyterian Church will turn into increase as well?
they were counted in this
They were counted
year,
this year.
but this new grant, these would be additional students on
Nice.
top of, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Dr. Porter. Mhm.
Excuse me, Dr. Porter.
Thank you. We're all getting used to his new title. Well earned. And then last but not least, I want to, for those of you who had the opportunity to join us for graduation, we did have one of our attendees to graduation prior to the ceremony getting started had a medical emergency.
Yeah.
And I just want to send a thank you out to the long list of people who supported us in taking care of that individual and at the same time helping everything move forward for everyone who was there for the celebration. So specifically, Miss Amber Britt, Mr. Paul Tu,
Yes.
Mr. John Dolgus, Mrs. Amy Dolgus,
Yes.
Brady Collins, Jordan Proudfoot, Tammy Buckle, Catherine Buchanan, Talise Brown, Tashara Collins, Jory Mitchell, Mike Eisman, Kent County EMS, and the Betterton Volunteer Fire Company. So everyone really circled up and tried to take care of our medical emergency and support the family that was working through that process while simultaneously keeping our graduation entrance families were moving in. So I just personally want to say thank you because it's in moments of unexpected challenge that we come together as a community, and that certainly happened that day. So thank you.
And let me build on that a little bit because I was going to say this during the board discussion because I actually was the first person when the gentleman had his issue right there. Britt, Dolgus, Paul, and it was one other person, I can't remember, but I know they were so quick on the scene and so professional with communication. Who's talking to the emergency services? Who's going to get the AED, if that's what it's called?
Yes.
AED
AED.
packet. Like they were on it very quickly in the midst of people coming into the graduation with
Yeah.
the long line. So I doubled down on what you said, me being like right there on the scene from when it first happened to watch how quickly everyone kind of galvanized as a community. And that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people get to see is how our community kind of comes together quickly in crisis moments. And that was a very good example when I was standing there. So
Thank
good
you.
job to everybody involved.
Thank you. And I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Dan DeVilio. He too was standing there helping us move things along, and he did the legwork to help me make sure that everyone was recognized. So thank you, Mr. DeVilio. Okay, I think at that, I'm going to turn it over to, I think, Miss Hemstetter for our FFA overnight field trip.
Okay, good evening again. Dr. McComas, President McGee, and members of the Board of Education. The purpose of this item this evening is to present information on a request for a Kent County High School FFA overnight stay to attend the Maryland State FFA Convention in Garrett County on June 23rd and June 24th, 2026. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing students to talk just a little bit more about that convention.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janie Depp, and I am the president of Kent County High School's FFA chapter.
Good evening, I'm Mally Worth, and I'm the treasurer of Kent County's FFA chapter.
And tonight, we're just going to be talking about the overnight stay for the state FFA convention, hoping for approval for that.
So we will leave KCHS at 10 a.m. on June 23rd, and we will return at approximately 7:30 p.m. on June 24th. Our chaperone will be our advisor, Ms. Jennifer Coldap. Student drivers may leave their car designated in our designating parking spaces at KCHS for pickup the following day. Parents will be notified when we are 1 hour away from the school.
So during our stay, we will be at the Comfort Inn in Grantsville. We have 3 rooms and 1 advisor room, and then we have a room for females and 1 for male students. We will arrive at the Comfort Inn at approximately 3 p.m. on the 23rd.
KCPS will provide a van and a driver for the duration of the trip. The driver will take us to Garrett College at 10 a.m. after checkout so that students may attend the state convention. The driver will return to KCHS after students' competitions have ended for the day. Students will stop for dinner on the way. Our ETA will approximately be 7:30 p.m.
So this was just a slide on our regional conference. So 5 students will participate in the public speaking competitions. That includes the region winners. Top 4 went to states. So we have 2 senior prepared speaking advancing to the state competition, Eliza Lawler and myself, who got 1st and 2nd place respectively in regionals. And then we have junior prepared speaking, Mally Worth placed 3rd in regionals. And then we have Aubrey Baker, who will be going for employability skills, and Billy Crestel, who placed 4th in regionals for extemporaneous.
The cost for students, transportation, lodging, and registration is no cost to the students due to grants and fundraising. Students will need money for 2 dinners, estimated around $30, for breakfast and lunch on June 24th. And we will probably purchase some merchandise as well while we are staying.
Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or comments, please ask.
I've got a question. Is this a new thing for us? I'm not used to guys go to this competition before. I know we've had our environthons and other things, and I know that the big FFA convention's usually in the fall, and you go to like Indianapolis or something. Is this new for us? Okay. I just don't remember you guys making a presentation or a request before. I mean, I think it's great.
This is the first time that we've gone to stay overnight. Last year, we rode up individually.
Okay. Nice.
To the
Does the
same
actual-
location?
Excuse me?
To the same location that you're on?
Yes, yes.
Is the actual competition just on the 2nd day?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Exciting. Congratulations.
One quick question, so Hempstead or the girls can answer it. Your breakfast and lunch is paid for, but you do need donations for dinner. Is that correct?
So right now, we're just saying that we are bringing money to provide ourselves for dinner. But yeah.
So community members, if you hear that students are in need of your support,
How would somebody make a donation? Who do they make the donation to?
That would go through my mom. Miss Coldep.
Your mom's advisor?
It can come to Kent County High School. It
Okay,
can come to
gotcha.
the-
All right, gotcha. Are there any other questions? All righty, the administration recommends approval of the overnight field trip to the FFA convention at Garrett College in Garrett County on June 23rd and June 24th. I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Dorsey's made the motion. Is there a second?
second.
Mr. Queen has made the second. Any more questions or discussion? All righty, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Swanson? All righty, it's unanimous.
Good luck.
Thank you,
and have
guys.
fun, girls.
All righty.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, our next topic here is I'm bringing forward our first reading Kent County cell phone policy, just for the general good. Those who may not be aware, the Maryland General Assembly this year passed House Bill 525. It was a unanimous, almost a unanimous vote. All but one delegate in the General Assembly voted to support this bill. The bill goes into effect no later than the 2027-28 school year, so not in September, but the following year at the very latest. What the bill does requires for school systems to create a cell phone-free school environment. So I'll just call the name of it, let's see. Maryland Phone Free Schools Act is what they have called this state law. And so I'm going to ask Mr. Poor if you could open up the PowerPoint. What I'm going to do, there's the House bill, there's our policy. Our policy is aligned with the requirements of the new House Bill 525. And I'm just going to talk through where we are on our journey in Kent County Public Schools to create a phone-free school environment that's focused on learning, and where we've been, where we're going. And so I'll take it away from here. So again, the General Assembly Bill, House Bill 525, mandates that schools create a phone-free school environment, and that means bell to bell. I just want to walk back a little bit and help everyone understand how it is that the General Assembly got to this place and where we are in a journey. So in, I guess, 2024, the MSDE, under Dr. Wright's supervision, created a task force to really examine cell phone usage in schools. Surveys went out. They conducted research around what was happening nationally and locally around cell phones in schools during the academic day. That spring in April, the Maryland State Department of Education published its task force on cell phone usage in schools and really called all school systems towards creation of a policy. Most school systems in the state do have a formal board policy. We did not have a formal policy, but we did have procedures in place at each of our schools, which was working for us, generally speaking. Then at the same time, the school systems across the state were strengthening their cell phone policies to really reduce student access during the school day and have tighter management. Then again, this year, I just have up here the screenshot of the process of House Bill 525 becoming a bill. And if you look on the top, you'll see to the far right, it was ultimately approved or signed by the governor as well. So it's through the entire process of becoming a law. And so we here in Kent County Public Schools, we drafted initial policy using the guidance from MSDE. We brought it forward just this past fall. Our board asked about our parent engagement, and so we went back and we surveyed parents. We brought that survey forward, I believe it was in January. Look, you can see the snapshot of that survey. I worked to host community conversations in March. They were not well attended, unfortunately. I think the time of year was not as, yes, and the one day we did have a huge storm. But they were not well attended. But for those who did show up, I sat and had conversations about cell phones and showed people what I want to try at our middle school. And then that was all happening while the General Assembly was doing its work. So when we had the community conversations, House Bill 525 had not yet become law. And shortly thereafter, in April, the bill passed. And then just last month, I brought that bill, because it was hot off the presses, to the board for awareness sake, and also to awareness sake for parents in the community. And then ultimately, I'm bringing forward a cell phone policy, board policy, for our board's consideration tonight. I will say that I did take the opportunity last week at our 9th grade orientation to have handouts for parents about House Bill HB 525. And then the week before that, when Mr. Buckle and his team was hosting our sixth grade orientation, I had the opportunity to share a handout with the rising sixth grade parents and explain to them directly what we were doing for implementation for next year. I will say coincidentally, I had a parent who was at both, and when he came up to me at the high school one and thanked me for our efforts around the middle school and cell phone efforts. So I know parents fall on different sides of the topic, but nevertheless, we are required to develop a plan to implement the legislation by the year after next. So,
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Well, two questions with the last slide. First, on the responses. If I remember correctly, it was almost like 50-50.
it was about half of our parents, even for elementary parents, felt that and it was slightly lower than those who did not want their students to have phones, but it was almost a 50-50 split. Those who felt like their students should have access to their cell phone during the day, it's all anchored in a sense of safety around school crisis.
Yeah.
So that's really the fundamental thing. Parents want to know that in a crisis, their child can immediately reach out to them. So that's what a lot of that, as I talk to people, and even the survey, that's what that feedback is really about.
And it doesn't have to be implemented till the following school year, not September. And I see up here, it says first read. Are you looking for a vote tonight?
No, this is first read.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, this is first read, which is part of why I'm really taking my time to
Yeah,
make sure everybody has an understanding. So what our implementation plan will be is to continue to move forward with our plan for next year for the middle school. And we will implement the magnetized pouches, those neoprene pouches. Students will, in their homeroom in the morning, have a pouch, put their phone in. It's closed, it's magnetized shut. Students maintain custody of their phone. So we are not getting in the business of, checking in and checking out everyone's personal cell phone. Students maintain custody of that phone throughout the day. And at the end of the day, they will, Mr. Buckle and I were just discussing, they will return to their homerooms, demagnetize, the pouch stays in the school for use the next day. So we will be trying this. Many of our school systems on the Eastern Shore have been implementing that approach at middle schools for a year and a half now. And while no system is perfect, I will share that the other LEAs that are implementing that this in our superintendent's meeting, they talked about the immediate change it had in terms of positive focus in the classroom and an immediate reduction in social disruptions throughout the school day. So it had overall a positive impact. Again, there is no perfect system. Right now, what we've been doing is students have to put their cell phones in a calculator pouch. That varies in terms of consistency of implementation. And of course, if you have a substitute, that varies throughout the day as well. This will be easier for us administratively to hold adults accountable for enforcing this policy because it's real clear who your homeroom teacher is, right? As opposed to maybe circulating through 5 or 6 teachers throughout the day, who one teacher may enforce it, another teacher may not. Then you have a substitute who may or may not enforce it. It's sealed. The student maintains custody. At the end of the day, they take it out of the pouch. They have it for all their after-school activities. So we are looking to implement that next school year at the middle school. What I will be doing next year with the high school students, and I want to thank our student member of the board because she helped me assemble a group of student advisors. I met just briefly with them once, right when House Bill 525 became official, to let them know that this was a new law and that I was going to need to confer with them, our faculty and parents at the high school level and our high school administration on what's the implementation look like at high school. Because as all of us know, our juniors and seniors and some of our sophomores are off-campus part of the day for dual enrollment or internships, apprenticeships. So we have students who come and go for lots of different program reasons. And so it's not like the middle school where you go to your homeroom and you go back to your homeroom at the end of the day, and that's a very consistent management feature. we're going to have to think about the logistics at the high school and what's the best way to do that at the high school. I know in just speaking with students, and I think our own student member of the board talked about, like, so for example, our math department at the high school, very consistent group of department members around making sure cell phones are not interfering with learning. That's not necessarily the case across the board. So we are seeking to design an implementation plan for the high school in collaboration with our high school stakeholders so that that can be up and in place in time for the law. So it's really like a two-step towards implementation here is what we're looking at. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
with implementation, what should the board expect in terms of reporting on the success of the various strategies?
Well, I guess my question is, what measure are you looking for? I can say we could look at what's the disciplinary data related to those violating the cell phone policy.
Yeah, I think probably would start with, I mean, at least at the middle school. I mean, I'd be curious to know, even just qualitative, or I don't know if that's the right word, but I would like to hear the administrator's perspective on, because it's a culture shift, right? I mean,
It
that's
is.
a big change for
Yep.
everybody at every level. So I would like to know, yeah, behavior
Yeah,
certainly.
I think it's a
But then-
multifaceted way of looking at it.
But then, yeah, just their read on the temperature in the building with the change,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, how
sure.
people are responding,
Do we have,
students and parents. You know, I don't know what kind of feedback they might be getting.
And I know, Mr. Buckwell, I'm going to put you on the spot since you happen to be here. You will not come to board meetings without it. See that little break you had earlier? Now I'm making up for it. Could you come on up and just kind of share with us a little bit of what your day or a week is like in terms of dealing with cell phones? And then that way next year when I invite you back to share what seems to be the impact of our implementation.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a tough one because I'll give you an example. Let's say, heaven forbid, we had a fight. With the cell phones now, you always got to like go back, watch the cameras and be like, oh, Alden was there filming the fight, right? Then you got to go find Alden, get her stuff. By then it's out, you know. Now it's a distraction in every class. Happened at 6th grade lunch. You have 8th graders now that are in class going, hey, look at this. So that's kind of tough to put
Yeah.
like a value on, I guess, like a number value of how much it interrupts instruction, but I can tell you a lot of that happens. And I mean, that's just an extreme example of a fight. I mean, it could be anything. It could just be a TikTok trend that day. Everybody's looking at it. I think I would anticipate with this addition of these pouches, we're going to have a little bit of an uptick to start because there's going to be people that are trying to avoid it. And I don't have a phone, and then it pops out later or whatever. But I mean, we have less and less, I guess, but it depends on the teacher. We still have a lot of teachers that are very strict and they'll call. I will say, for the most part, if they push the button or call over the radio or whatever, however administration is notified, pick up their classroom phone, before we get there, the device is usually put away, put in the pouch or whatever, if someone's refusing. So typically that's where it ends, but
So
I don't
we've
know if
been
I'm answering
working
the
on
question or
curbing
not.
that culture, right?
so, yeah, I mean, I think, but for every teacher that's holding the line, you know, there's going to be a couple that aren't. And so you might go into Miss McGee's classroom because she called and said so-and-so wouldn't put their phone away and you have to get the phone, or the child then puts it in the pouch on the wall. But the classroom next door, there might be 10 kids that are playing on their phone, the teacher's not doing it. So I think that's where bringing these yonder pouches in is going to make it consistent across the board, and it kind of takes that personal freedom away from the educator to say, if you do all your work today, on Friday you can use your phone. And every day becomes a
Right. Well, I appreciate, I know I put you right on the spot, but I think,
I
you
got
know.
a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do we have any data on disciplinary actions for phone, I guess, violations now? Because we would have to, if we get data from you, we need something to compare it to, kind of.
I mean, I would say it's a tough one because there's no
Right, like
There's no, like,
it would be
personal
like
cell phone.
insubordination,
Right,
right?
it's
So
just
like you're not
reference.
complying with the expectation. So that's where it would be grouped in. We don't have a single discipline category. It
Right.
says violate the cell phone, right? It would be disrespect or insubordination
Go to
or
like
disruption.
Disruption or something. So we'd have to really filter all the log entries. So it'd be time.
Words and law.
Well, I'm just wondering, because I know part of it, and it's not completely disconnected, but it, with the new system where you're able to track academics in general.
Yep, performance matters.
And my hope
Yeah.
would be that this has a positive impact on academic performance.
Right.
I mean, so I think I would be curious to know if grades are getting better. I mean, I know there's a variety of reasons why that might happen. My hope would be that having less access to cell phones would lead to more available learning.
Right.
I will say that.
You know,
And again, this is sort of a, not a real solid data point, but I will say in conversations with students that come out of the classrooms that have the really strict 100% no phone policy, teacher, start to finish, and even those teachers will say at the end of the year, a lot of kids will thank them and say, I appreciate it because this was like the one time I actually paid attention, because it becomes so habitual to just look at your phone. When we do it,
right.
think
right.
about it. Look, just time yourself in an hour and how many times do you look down at your phone? Now, imagine a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, even a 17-year-old, a lot of time that they're distracted, and they're a lot faster than us, and they're doing a whole lot more than just checking time when we're looking.
Right.
They're sending 3 texts and looking at a TikTok and all that in 5 minutes and missed whatever's going on with it.
So I mean, would that be an option? Will that system be prepared to report at that level as far as academics?
Well, I think what we can definitely bring forward like multiple measures, right? So I think we can look at, I'm thinking maybe comparing quarterly report card grades, right? Like I'll have to discern like what's the best temperature read for comparison's sake. I think quarterly report cards could perhaps be something, right? Because then we would have a quarter of implementation. We could compare first quarter this year to first quarter next year. And maybe 3, I always like 3 years because then you really can sort of see if there's fluctuation.
That'd be hard to quantify into academics because there's so many variables that go into academics. You wouldn't know if a kid not using a phone mean he done better on MCAT or his grade went from a C to a B. We couldn't put that right on his phone.
Right. You couldn't make a causal relationship like A causes B, right? We took the cell phones away, therefore their grades went up. It would be a correlation or it's a contributing relation, right? So I think to Ms. McKenzie's point, there's like, I think if we look holistically, right, and we could have quantitative and qualitative measures, right? So we could survey students, we could survey parents, we could survey teachers to say what is qualitatively the difference here. And then we can also have some other measures that are more quantitative to see what is happening, right? I would say to us, again, this is why next year at the middle school is important. We are getting ahead of when we have to do it.
Yes.
And I would much rather do that next year. And not that I don't care about cell phones at the high school, I do. But I will tell you developmentally, middle school students who are hitting puberty, they are just so much less cognitively and emotionally ready to deal with the access that a cell phone compared to 17 or 18-year-old, right? And not that we don't need to also protect learning at the high school, but they're different. And I think next year really gives us an opportunity to try something different than what we've been doing. And again, there'll be no perfect system. So we will implement, we will learn in that implementation, we'll refine it. And I do look forward to bringing forward to you data and information on how this is going. I do think in the 30 years of education, cell phones have been the singular greatest disruptor to the academic environment of anything, And so, I'm frankly grateful that our General Assembly, all but one delegate voted for this. It tells you something, right?
Yeah.
And we know the research around social emotional damage our students who are exposed to cell phones are having higher rates of anxiety and depression. And so we have to do something dramatic. And I know some folks are going to be upset with it, but in the long run, it is the right thing. It may not be the popular thing, but it's the right thing, I believe. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Buckle. I know I put you on the
Thank
spot. Yes,
I
sir.
just got one more question for me, because I'm cool with the middle school and that. Can we send a survey out one more time prior to the start of the school year? Because we're gonna do it into the 2027 school year at the middle school, and we still send a survey out just to still kind of check temperatures with everybody about how they feel about it?
Well, I wouldn't do that, and at this point, and here's why. We already surveyed where people stand on it. I'm not sure that there's anything that's going to have moved
Change it,
people,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
And we're not surveying to get input on a decision, right?
Correct.
Like, we've made a decision on, I mean, one, the law is a decision
Yeah.
that we can kick the can and not do anything for a year, but that's just going to jam us up harder the following year, because then we're going to be implementing 6 to 12. I mean, it applies to elementary schools, but it's not an issue at our elementary schools. So I would rather not try to implement 6 to 12 in a single shot. And we can learn from next year at the middle school that might give us insight for how to implement at the high school.
Agreed?
So that's why I would say it's not that I'm not interested in a survey. I just don't think at that moment we're going to get any more information.
And the decision was.
hmm And what I do think we should definitely do is survey parents like in October or November after we've been implementing it, so we can get insight from parents' point of view of like, are they seeing this have positive impact or negative impact on their child academically, behaviorally, right? And then I think that's good information for us as a board and superintendent to then, that's insight to help us make future decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So again, this is the first read. You'll see the policy. I would encourage anyone who's looking, read the state law, House Bill 525 first, then look at our policy. The state law is very specific about electronic devices. I know there's been questions over the year about smartwatches. That's included in the state law. It does, for anyone who hasn't looked at it, it does allow for students who need devices for medical reasons. Sometimes we have students with diabetes that need to monitor their blood sugar. If there are specific reasons for IEPs, 504s, or English language, you'll see the English language is if there is it's permissible if the school-issued devices does not have the translation resources. So it also specifies in there that device exclusion does not include the things issued by the school system to students to support the academic process. So I encourage you to read the House bill first, then read our policy, and then we'll be back again next month. So,
Can I just ask some
yes.
nitpicky questions about the policy? And thanks for just saying that a lot of the language comes directly from the House bill. I haven't had
Yes.
the chance to compare directly, but I just wanted to know if the definitions, like the academic day and the definition for electronic devices, are from the House bill, or
They are.
They are. Okay, so
They are.
so academic day includes lunch periods, recess, like that's just what we have to do.
Yes.
That's not.
Bell to bell.
In the House bill, they define it as bell, and they define that as the opening bell or signal of the school day, all the way through to the closing bell signal, to include recess and lunch passing in the halls as well, which will be different for us.
Okay. Does it leave storage like methods up to?
Up to school systems,
Yeah.
that's operational implementation.
Gotcha.
And so I'm appreciative that the General Assembly didn't get into micromanaging the how. You know, they set forward the policy of the what, and then for us to figure out how
That's
do
why
we
we're
actually
filing
make that
bundle pouches
operate.
and everything. Okay, cool.
So the expectation is next month. Will it?
Yes. And then I will, and again, I've been doing my best to try to educate parents in real time. I think next year, the middle school parents are the most important. I will be sending out communication, and working with Mr. DeVilio to send out communication to all parents, but particularly our middle school parents for next year, so that they are not caught off guard, or they're, hopefully they'll remember over the summer this big change is coming.
I
So
just say one more thing. I saw the administrative reinforcement and support. Was pretty light. That section was. I know
Mhm.
Mr. Buckle said that it's hard to monitor how every single teacher is doing it. But I think that if that's left up to us, then really making sure we have guidelines about how administration is going to support teachers, because I hear a lot from teachers that they have issues getting support because I don't know, because administration stretched far, between
Yeah.
everything else they have to do. But I think language on that would be really helpful for.
if you open up, and Mr. Poor, could you open up the policy itself, scroll towards the bottom of the policy, and you will see our consequences. So I think that will
Yeah.
address what you're seeking. Scroll all the way down. Consequences, first offense, second offense, third offense, so very specific there. Okay, and those were developed in collaboration. Dr. Walker facilitate collaboration with our principals and
And we haven't
teams
had that
around.
previously.
Not to that extent, not that
Okay.
specific. Mhm. Again, each school sort of had its procedure, but this sets forth policy that
Universal
must,
policy.
yeah, universal policy.
And is each student's offenses going to be kept track?
There will be kept track in our student management system where discipline, behavior, referrals are documented.
And can a teacher do that? Does an administrative member need to come in and certify it, or
Well,
does the
that's
teacher have liberty?
right. That's where typically a teacher refers that to an administrator. And so each school has that procedure, because a elementary teacher is a little bit more involved because we don't have full-time assistant principals there. We have our teacher specialists who are like administrators, but so that's all part of that process.
Okay.
Any more questions? Alrighty.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the time to explain it and share with everyone where we are in this process. So thank you.
Code of conduct?
This would be Dr. Walker.
Good evening, President McGee, Dr. McComas, and members of the board. Tonight, for information only, I'm sharing changes to the Student Code of Conduct. And hopefully you've had a chance to look at, to review the changes ahead of time. On page 1, what with it? On page 1, under level 1, where it talks about, kind of explains that this is the strategies for each level, we added the language. These responses should be used in a graduated fashion, depending on the severity of the misconduct. And this will actually be added. I noticed on here it's not. It will be added for all 5 levels. And the reason we wanted to clarify that applying progressive consequences does not necessarily mean that students start at level 1. So if you get in a fight, you don't start at level 1, and then your second fight, you go to level 2. It doesn't work that way. It depends on the individual situation and the severity of the action. So that's the first change. A lot of times parents think that they're just going to start at level 1. On pages 2 and 3, we just took out whatever is in red. We're removing student court because we don't offer student court, and this has been in here for a very long time. So we just removed student court from pages 2 and 3. And then we get to page 4. And there are no changes on page 4, but on page 5, using and possessing illegal drugs, and this is really what got the principals wanting to come together and make some changes. They noticed that using illegal drugs did not rise to the same level as using or possessing alcohol, and they felt like it should. So we added level 5 to that consequence. On page 6, making a threat to adults or students only rose up to level 4, but now it goes all the way up to level 5. We had some situations in the past couple of years where it was definitely level 5, and we wanted to make sure that's represented and that is clear to students and parents. Near the bottom of that same page, principals thought it was important to put including cyberbullying. I think most of us understand that, but maybe parents don't always understand that. Whatever their students are doing online is also considered harassment, sexual harassment, bullying, that sort of thing. So we added that language.
What level would that one be?
I'm sorry?
What level would cyberbullying fall under?
Well, the levels didn't change. If you notice right here, it still goes to up to a level 5 for many of these, but they just wanted to add the language cyberbullying so that it was clear.
Right, and I think, Mr. Queen, your question around which level depends on the severity of the circumstance, right? That's
Case
where.
by case, so to speak. Like
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what, me saying, I didn't like your shirt is different than me harassing you again and again.
Yes.
Right.
Although I like your shirt.
On page 7, there were no changes. Then we get to page 8. To support being recommended for a superintendent's disciplinary hearing, we added language because principals can recommend that students, if there is chronic and extreme disruption, they can be recommended for a hearing and they can be removed. That wasn't anywhere in this code of conduct, so we added this section: persistently over a period of time engaging in moderate to severe to serious behavior that distracts from teaching and learning and directly affects the safety of others. So if we are holding hearings for that reason, it certainly should be on the code of conduct. So we added it, and it goes all the way to level 5 because at this point you are being recommended for alternative expulsion, something like that. That was page 8. On page 9, we removed level 3 consequences for personal cell phone use because of the legislation and the new policy. We are not allowed to remove students for personal cell phone use. Like, we have to work with them. So that's in level 1 and 2. When you get to level 3, you start talking about removals and things like that. And then for inappropriately using, I think this came from Mr. Buckle too. He was like, there's, really no consequences for inappropriately using a school device. Is usually like disruption or inappropriate behavior, some other infraction. So we specifically added inappropriately using a school device, including but not limited to sexting, cyberbullying and harassment, academic cheating, so forth. And this level 5 response, of course, is for grades 6 to 12, but younger kids can also inappropriately use it, and we would deal with it in a different way, an age-appropriate way. We also taken property without owner's permission in grades K to 5. That's going to look different. They wanted to separate it out, so we separated it. And we also, I think I skipped. No, I did. All right, and that's the totality of the changes. If you have any questions.
If I may, Dr. Walker, I also just want to read into the record the summary that you put together, because I really think that also highlights holistically.
Okay.
At the request of the principals, our director of student services, and principals from all 5 of the schools met in 4 meetings over the last 12 months to make these updates. And so they really went through with a fine-tooth comb. Items identified in red will be removed, as Dr. Walker said, and highlighted in yellow will be added to the code of conduct. And the changes include, I think these are the really strong talking points: stronger consequences for using and possessing illegal drugs, stronger consequences for expressing intent to do physical harm to others, the addition of cyberbullying language related to bullying and sexual harassment, so being more precise in that, the addition of language to support students referred for superintendent's disciplinary hearing due to chronic and extreme disruption. And then lastly, the addition of consequences for inappropriate use of school electronic devices. So thank you, Dr. Walker, for letting me just kind of summarize it all together, because I thought your talking points were really good. And so that way people can kind of pull it all together there.
When was the last time this had been updated?
That is a very good question. I don't know.
I couldn't find a date on it, so that's what I wondered.
Yes,
Okay.
I couldn't either. Of course, when I got here, it was here, but I think it's been a very long time. And we will make sure it gets dated this time. So when it gets updated again, we'll have some reference.
I do have a question, not something I expect to be answered tonight, but something that I would like to discuss maybe in the future. Is just because I know that the law itself towards juveniles has become more lax. And I'm wondering about the impact in our schools, because, right, we're educating potential, students that are misconduct obviously doesn't just happen,
Sure.
it's within school and without school. And I'm just wondering how the greater law is impacting schools in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Have a good
Thank you,
evening.
Dr. Walker.
Thank you.
21st Century Grant Summer Keep Camp.
That will be Ms. Jacomowitz.
Just to bring awareness to the fact that Kent County Public Schools will be applying for the 21st Century Learning Grant again. As you know, this is a grant that has allowed us to offer the summer program over the past 3 years. We serve slightly over 90 students in our summer program, beginning in kindergarten, going through grade 8. And it offers a balance of academics, students that are identified for needing additional time for grade level academics, as well as offering other social emotional and more well-rounded opportunities like clubs in the afternoon. So this round, July 6th, with the leadership of Nicole Boyce from our instructional team, we are going to be submitting another grant that would begin in fiscal year 27 and take us through the next 3 years if we're successful with this grant writing. We are putting together a similar program. The one big difference that we wanted to bring to your attention is we're trying to lengthen the runway for students and offer a little more time. So right now, our summer program is 4 weeks. And in our new grant, we're looking to extend it possibly to 6 weeks. Again, thinking about lessons learned through our partnership with the Horizons program and things that they have done in the past, being able to really offer students that additional time in the summer as well as during the school year. So this is more for information only. It is also posted on our website. Mr. DeVillio has posted it on there, and we will submit it on July 6th. So with that, are there any questions?
Yeah, I think I asked the same question last year. What differentiates this from Horizons?
Right, so one thing that is a big difference is Horizons works in collaboration with us to identify their students, and they work with the same students year after year.
Yeah.
Whereas we may have different students based on the criteria that's established through the academic need. So we
Okay.
may have different students that are identified. And if we have students that overlap, we work collaboratively with Horizons to identify which program would be the best fit for those.
Okay.
I have just one question. What would be the backup plan if were not successful with the grant?
Well, the backup plan at this point is we have the good fortune of our schools, particularly the elementary, middle, and high. They are all community schools. So we would really have to think about the need in each community and whether or not a summer program, funding through those community schools would have to maybe be shifted to offer something more personalized for the community. Whereas this is more a district-wide summer program. So there are some kind of out-of-the-box thinking our principals have been doing, but that would really be a decision that would be made depending on whether or not we receive.
Once we got it.
I just want to thank Ms. Jacomowitz and her team because I've been chewing on their ear about lengthening the program because we know research shows that 4-week programs just prevent slide. 6 and 8-week programs are where students actually grow academically is what the research shows. So I just want to thank you for thinking about this new opportunity of applying for the next round of this federal money a little differently. So
Thank you all.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, President McGee, Dr. McComas, members of the board. Before you, I've got my monthly financial statements for everybody to review. Starting off, we've got our cash receipt summary for this fiscal year so far. So Fund 1, we've received about a little over $41 million. Fund 3, we've received about $1.7 million for school construction. That's related to the Ward Elementary School roof project. And then for food service, we've had about $1.55 million so far received this year, giving us a total receipts as of the end of May of $44.4 million. Moving on to our current expense fund, so Fund 1, as you can see, we've got about $2.3 million remaining. Again, like always, we'll have our comparison to this time last year to give you kind of an idea of really where we stand on a typical year. So moving down, we've got Fund 3, which is school construction, which we just spoke about. So this is, a combination of Dr. Lever services as well as the Wharton Elementary School roof project. For Fund 5, for food service, you can see we've got about $31,000 remaining, which is pretty typical about this time of the year. That usually is right around that average for us each year. And then finally, we've got our restricted funds, so our grants. At this point in time, we've got about $2.7 million remaining in grant funding. Just a reminder, a lot of this funding will carry over into next fiscal year. As grants kind of are on a different timeline than a typical budget is. So some of these numbers will be carrying forward. So it's not we have $2.6 million remaining here. If it is still sitting here at the end of June 30th, we'll lose whatever is remaining. So a lot of this will carry forward. So we've got our normal, pie chart showing all the different funds. And then, as always, at the end, we've got our comparison, which is up top here. We have where we are this year. So that 2.3 we had discussed earlier versus last year, where we were sitting at about $1 million left. So about a $1.3 million difference at this point this year than we were at this point last year. Any questions or comments?
What's the status of the Wharton roof? They finished?
They're not done yet. They're about, I'd say about 80% done. The
Did they
contract
stop to
itself.
go do another project, and are they coming back? Or?
No, they had to stop for a couple weeks to let stuff cure on top of the roof. So I think they came back starting this week to kind of go ahead and finish up. Except the roof surface itself is all taken care of and is all poured. We did not have any sort of unforeseens when they pulled the decking off. So we have not had any change orders at all to the project. So the county will be happy to hear that. So we should stay within the budget that we had allotted for the project.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. President McGee, Dr. McComas, school board members, tonight I bring before you an update to Personnel Procedure 300-5 that has lived for almost 23 years and has not been revised. Nor has it been reviewed by you in 26.
Yeah.
So once called staff health and safety, we have made updates to reflect a title change to staff fitness for duty. I'm sorry, I thought I had it up. As you can see, there's a lot of strike through and change. The changes are really to just streamline and formalize our practices, which are common practices amongst many of the school systems on the Eastern Shore. In my time in HR over the last 5+ years, we have not had to go down this road often, but when we have had to, it has not been a streamlined process. Hence, this is something I was trying to work with my team and legal counsel on to make sure it's there after I'm gone. So I know you had time to review all of these changes. I do know that Dr. McComas did share a question with me that just want to, highlight publicly, and that is a fitness for duty evaluation is not the only tool that is used in a, personnel decision-making process. Often at times, there are a number of different things that have been looked at and explored before we get to this point. Observation, documented conversations, counseling, progressive discipline perhaps, work performance plans. So this is just to put a more formalized process in place. As you will see on the other document, there is a corresponding form which provides us with a lot of helpful information from the employee's treating physician that will help us determine the best avenue to go. And this is also not a tool that, will end up in a negative circumstance either, right? This is a tool that actually can help us during an interactive conference to discuss possible workplace accommodations that can help the employee complete the essential functions of their job. So I just know that there's a stigma that can be, attached to when we're talking about fitness for duty. And yes, often at times when we have to explore that, yes, there's something typically that has risen to the level of concern, but it can also, the information gathered can also help the employee going forward. So open it up for any questions that you may have.
I don't have any questions, but what I'll say is, it looks like the thing was practically rewritten.
Pretty much.
There wasn't really nothing with it.
Okay, yeah. And would you attribute that to the fact that it's been 26 years since it's been touched?
Yeah.
And that things have changed, I think, for the better for how we try to support employees as opposed to kick them to the curb the minute they stumble. So,
Yeah, and this updated document that is also attached, it's kind of an all-inclusive, capture all, that, will just help the administration, as they work through this process with whoever the employee is.
I think one of the, you touched on it earlier, that is significant. It's not supposed to serve as a black mark on a employee's record, and it's more about trying to remove some of the stigma and just, I guess the best word I can think of is just to support them.
Promote staff
Yeah.
safety
Yeah.
and well-being.
Well, there's so much emphasis on social, emotional for students, same thing would apply to staff.
Yep. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, good evening again. My first item for approval tonight is our 2026 Education Facilities Master Plan. Just a reminder, this is an annual plan that is submitted to the state. It's due July 1st every year, and our typical process is it comes to our board at the June board meeting for approval, and then it is subsequently approved by the county commissioners after that for our final submittal on July 1st. So in years past, when I've done this, I've taken a lot of time going through a lot of the statistics and everything. This year, I kind of just prepared a very quick summary document for everybody. That kind of highlights a lot of the main changes or items that kind of are variable from year to year. A lot of the report is a lot of history with the public school system, that typically doesn't change from year to year. So really, it comes down to about 3 total discussion areas that kind of change year to year. The first is enrollment trends. The second is just community-based discussion. And then obviously our facility discussion, which is, the primary driver of the document itself. So just to kind of give you a couple quick highlights for enrollment trends that we're seeing, we do have just a very small discrepancy in terms of what we project the next decade to look like in terms of K-12 student enrollment versus what Maryland Department of Planning has on there that they produce each year to us. So in total, MDP is projecting about a 29 student decrease from K-12 in the next 10 years, as opposed to our projections are showing about a 46 student increase. This is acceptable to the state because it's within a 5% variance essentially. But it really comes down to the state primarily calculates their projections based off of things like live births, whereas our local enrollment takes into account things like residential housing growth, plans that more directly impact just Kent County, whereas the state has a very kind of bird's eye view. They don't really get into the details of each individual county. So that, kind of shows where we'll have slight discrepancies between our numbers versus the state numbers and why our numbers typically show a little bit higher of an enrollment projection than the state does. So that's really the biggest highlight in terms of enrollment trends. Any questions on that before I kind of move forward? Okay. So community discussion, it ties hand in hand, just like we just talked about with our local projections. So as of this point, there's no indications of significant changes in employment within the county. As everybody knows, that can change depending on what happens with that Millington development area. If that moves forward, then obviously that would have a significant impact on the community as a whole from a economical standpoint. We do have some items showing that we could see as many as 1,000 new homes over the next decade within the county between the town of Chestertown, Betterton, Galena, Kennedyville, and Rock Hall. So it's not a guarantee that results in increased enrollment, but it is you do kind of make the assumption that in some way, shape, or form, if we get that many new housing, units, that there will be some sort of ripple effect to enrollment within the county. So those are kind of the primary drivers to where we're showing a slight increase. And as these potential developments move forward, it would allow us to really, calculate more of an increase probably. So we take a very conservative view because a lot of these are still just in a planning stage or very early in development. So, they're not set in stone yet. As they become set in stone, they become more concrete in our local enrollment projections.
So I was going to say, Mr. Kirby, is it, I just want to point out that the Maryland planning projections do not take into account
Correct.
this knowledge around home development.
Correct.
So that's important, as I know you, as the community is paying attention to these things, to know what is included in the state planning numbers and what isn't, but yet we have on the ground,
Exactly.
community knowledge
Sure.
that these things are in the works.
Yep,
So,
that is fair. And then finally, facility discussion, obviously, everything is the Kent County Middle School at the moment. So, we obviously have our updates with our smaller projects, with our lighting projects, with the Wharton Elementary School roof project going on. But, the facility discussion section is primarily driven by the Kent County Middle School and the updates and the progress of where we are at this point in time. So, if we have any further questions there, I can answer any questions, but that's just kind of.
Just for the community, can you just tell us where we are at this point in time with the middle school?
Sure. So tomorrow morning, we will be going to the county commissioners to seek approval of what's called a conditional letter of approval, basically. So it will allow us to move forward with bidding the project out in an effort to get what's called a guaranteed maximum price, or you'll hear people say GMP. That's what it means is it basically gives the county commissioners, this is as high as the construction figure will go at this point in time. So it is not a commitment from the county commissioners saying that they will fund the project. It is a commitment to allow us to move forward with getting them concrete construction figures, because as everybody knows, for the last few years, we've been working off of estimates. So this would give us actual, boots on the ground construction, hard dollar figures to bring to their, to bring to their attention. In terms of a timeline, it would line up nicely with what we anticipate is potentially a late July, August update from the IAC with their numbers. Obviously, our numbers would now include our GMP numbers from the bidding process. So at that point in time, we feel like we would have a pretty set, number to move forward in terms of what the overall project cost would be at that point in time.
One last question, since we're talking about the project cost. Our original schedule for shovels in the ground, January, they told us to push it back to May. We're in June. How much money has that cost our public school system?
Yeah, if you go back to what we had discussed in October with them, we kind of basically gave them the heads up that if this pushes, we're looking anywhere from 8%. So I know the figure that we gave them in the fall for total construction or total project cost was about 68.9 million. Right now, we're at about 71 million. So it's about a $2 million increase is what the time lapse has kind of added to the total project cost at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. That number that we give them for this like preliminary agreement, how long is that good before, like, I don't know how to ask this, but if it changes, then how long can they say that's not what we agreed to?
Sure. So bidders typically hold pricing for anywhere from 30 to 60 days. It used to be 60 to 90. Obviously, with recent events in the economy and overseas and tariffs, a lot of those 60 and 90 day agreements have gone to 30 to 60. So provided we get those numbers back in the middle of July, it would hold through a decision-making process by the county commissioners. So we wouldn't be in jeopardy of, losing any pricing unless it got pushed into, further down the line at that point. And then we would probably, have to rebid the project and, add significant time to the project.
I just would like to quote from your executive summary. I know that at least one commissioner has made a big point of the fact that there is all this underused space at the high school. Specifically, I'm going to quote, an underutilized facility does not necessarily contain unused instructional spaces. In consolidation with another facility to improve utilization can carry very significant capital costs and may place students in a facility that is not suited to their educational needs, which is what we would find for a middle school if we went into what had once been Wharton Elementary School, or now there's a proposal floating out there to put the 8th grade at the high school. Also, I want to say that, I'm quoting again, it was determined that even though Kent County High School was technically underutilized, in fact, almost all spaces are used for instructional or support purposes, and it would require a thorough renovation project to safely house the middle school students in the facility. So there is, some people might say, oh, you're splitting hairs. I'm not splitting hairs. There's a difference between unused instructional space and underused facility. And it may be an underutilized high school, but that space is being used for instructional use. And I don't know how else to bring that point to them. It doesn't fit their narrative, so they don't hear it, but I'm reading
We
it.
walked through that. The county commissioners walked through that. I know we all asked about the space, and that was explained to us at least twice.
Right, and I'll just add to give like a concrete example of that, and I won't take us too far off that, Mr. Kirby, but, to make the example of the underutilization, right? we have to run English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12.
Yes.
Right? Even if those sections might have 18 students in it compared to 30 students. So that's where that utilization comes in, which is different than use,
Just
right? The
space,
spaces
yeah.
are used, it's just if I had more English 10 students, that class size would be more. So that's the nuance there that I think a lot of folks don't separate the difference between utilization and use, right?
Our
think-
commissioner should be able to separate that.
I think they make the connect, they try to connect the dots that, hey, that school was built for 1,800 kids, okay? And there are less than 700 in there, so there must be all this unused
Empty
space.
space.
And that is not the case.
May I say
So,
something? When that school started,
sorry.
a lot of the students moved across the Chester River, went to our school system. Queen Anne's County got smart and said, no, we're going to take those students. So I don't know when the transition was, but how many students did we lose when all those students on the other side of the Chester River went to Queen Anne's school? It was a while ago, and we lost probably a lot of students. No one really talks about that.
Good point.
Yeah, I had some questions. So the facilities plan mentions a couple different things that refer to a different document. I'm talking specifically about the ADA audit and the feasibility study. So when I go to that document that connects to that 6-year facility strategic plan, which now is past the 6 years, is the facility strategic plan, was that for a specific purpose? Is that something that gets renewed? What is?
Yeah, so that 6-year strategic facility plan, all of those projects have been completed. The final project in that plan was the Kent County Middle School
Okay,
replacement project. So a new one has not been developed yet due to, the delay in trying to
so we're
get.
waiting for this to complete
Correct.
before then renewing?
And then we'll start,
Okay.
a new strategic plan essentially for facilities.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sure.
And just to be clear, the middle school ended up as the final project because it was the largest, and we were able to do all those HVAC, new roofs, and so on, things at the other locations.
Yep.
So.
Any other questions or comments? All righty, this is an action item. I am looking, the administration recommends approval by the Board of Ed for the fiscal year 2026 Educational Facilities Master Plan. Is there a motion?
Make a motion for the educational facilities master plan.
Mr. Queens made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Rhodes has seconded. Is there any more discussion or questions? I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Righty, it's unanimous. Thank you. All righty, we have a new policy. I'm guessing it's you.
It is, yeah.
It is. This is first read, I believe.
No, we had the first read.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is.
Forgive me.
Yep, so this is the policy that was brought forward last month for first read. Just to remind everybody, this was a recommendation coming out of our COVID audit by MSDE to have a formal financial record retention policy. So this policy will establish that record retention policy as, requested by MSD for us for moving forward. So this is to seek approval for that financial record retention policy, DIAA.
Righty. I'm looking for a motion to approve creation of a financial records retention policy, DIAA.
Make a motion.
Mr. Rhodes has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, is there any discussion or questions? All righty, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Swanson, an aye from you too. It is unanimous. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Moving on to the Citizens Advisory Committee Annual Report. Is that you, Ms. McKenzie? Dr.
Kind of
McComas?
both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think, I'm sorry, I didn't want to,
No, go ahead.
thinking Dr. McComas was going to talk about the meetings that occurred before I joined the CAC, and then I was just going to give an update on the most recent.
Okay.
Yep, so this year, we set out and had, I believe, our first meeting in August and then an October meeting. in August, I think we set forward the dates for the year. At that time, we approved, I think, in October, and maybe it was a February meeting. In those meetings, I know in the October meeting, we asked those who were able to join. We have struggled throughout the year to have a quorum. So out of respect for those who show up, we do at least engage in conversation related, dialogue related to something pertinent to the school system. It has largely been around the middle school project, how to continue to educate the community on the details of the project, and bring all these variables into an everyday understanding for the community. To that end, I know Mr. DeVilio has worked hand in hand with me over many months to develop different handouts and communication strategies and to update our website. So there are some of the conversations I know. Oh, you're going to talk about our last one? Okay.
Yeah, so obviously that last meeting, we did not have a quorum again, but we did have a great conversation, and from that, recognizing the challenges of the structure of the CAC, how it's not working, and how do we then develop a structure that regardless of who's sitting at the table, it's going to work for the group and be successful. From that, I had some homework to do to reach out to Babe, see if I could get some guidance for Babe on what that could look like. And I did have a conversation with Jessica Goff from Babe. She didn't have a lot to offer, only because the law itself is general and really doesn't offer guidance. And so she just recommended I look out to a couple counties, see what their CACs look like, the structure of that. I looked at both Queen Anne's and Cecil. Cecil did not, you could tell that obviously they're having meetings, but there wasn't any specific structure outlined. I liked Queen Anne's structure, which said that it was developed around their strategic plan, which I think could be really helpful for us to do the same thing. So that way the CAC then has a focus. The goal, if the strategic, why shouldn't every level support the strategic plan in some way? And so I think that will give us, with the CAC then meeting at the beginning of the year, looking at the strategic plan, saying, okay, what area in the strategic plan then do we want to deal with first? And then making a plan for the year then on what issues we're going to tackle and when. And it was my, so that's one thought. So that's where I'm just kind of telling you, this is the direction we're hoping to go in. But obviously, this needs to be voted on, the board needs to consider this, and my hope is that we will. Also would like to see public participation with boundaries, similar to how we have here, so that so that as people come, we want people to participate. It would be very frustrating for me if I showed up at a meeting and then had a thought and then couldn't share it, but there needs to be boundaries with that. So having similar boundaries to as we have meetings here, but then giving that opportunity at the CAC. And because there is, difficulty with attendance, trying to have a hybrid option, so that way individuals can attend in person or remotely. And that's what, looking at the calendar, the next meeting is scheduled for June 18th at 6.
Next CAC?
Yeah, because.
What are you, rescheduled because you didn't?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we got to have a quorum. Right, June is not an ideal time. May is an even more challenging time. We really would try to avoid May at all costs. Because it's just really, it's such a hard time of year for schools in general. So this would just be, so we could, I guess, as a group say, these are our recommendations. I'm trying to figure, so that way then the board can then vote on, okay, here's the structure we'd like to see the CAC moved in, so then the board can then, because we'd like to see, I don't know if it would be a policy of.
I think it would be a policy update, or maybe just we could look at the policy and maybe just develop a procedure if that would be helpful. One of the things that has come up.
The board doesn't make a procedure.
I know, I could put together just that procedure, operational, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that our members make clear is they struggle. One of their frustrations is knowing what the board is seeking advice on, right? Like, so they're waiting for us to kind of give them a topic, right? And this is where I think when Ms. McKenzie shared with me that Queen Anne's they use the strategic plan as the anchor structure. And I thought that's very sustainable model, right? Because that way, no matter who board members are, no matter who the superintendent is, no matter who the CAC members are, the structure is always advising the board on how to advance the strategic plan, whichever component of that plan you map out for the different meetings. So that seemed to me like a structure that would sustain itself, regardless of people who move in and out of
And not
roles.
to say that there couldn't be other
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
But to at least have some kind of guidelines.
The body of the topic and conversations while we're there. I think we need those type of guidance and
And
structure from
then,
a strategic.
and then also wanted to make as part of, I don't know if this is the correct way to say it, but as part of the coordinators, the.
Oh, community schools
Yes.
coordinators. Yes, so one of our current members.
Ms. Clark is,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, so Ms. Clark was there. And one of the things we realized in our discussion, was that just last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Just recently, was, something that an advantage we have now as a school system board that was not in place 5 years ago, is now that each school is a community school and has a community school facilitator, they each are doing a lot of meetings for their school community where they can get input from the community and then filter that back up to the CAC. So that's a layer of tapping into engaged stakeholders and getting input through that, right? So if we think about this possibility, let's say, topic for the first meeting is, I'm just picking math achievement, right? Like, how do we advise the board? And to me, I would narrow that down. I would advise the board to narrow that down to how do we support parents in helping their students with math at home, right? Because that's like a need. And so what would be your advice on, what are the needs of parents? How do we build up parents so that they feel like they can help their child with math, as an example? And those community schools facilitators can take that question back to their many groups and then pull ideas and then bring that to the CAC, which we can consolidate and then bring here. Did I describe what we discussed? Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't want to, I feel like I wasn't trying to lock any, we just need information. And so however we get that, whether they're participating with the meetings directly or sending that, the point is that we need their input. Now that we have access to that, it's really important to capitalize on it. But that's kind of.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a couple of questions? Because I feel like, and I'll take ownership, because I was the chair for about 2 years when the thing got launched. I feel like the committee, for reasons that really aren't anybody's fault, it's kind of just been sort of treading water. That's, I mean, it's probably
Fair-
gone down
fair-
once
fair
or
to
twice
say.
to come back up.
Fair to say.
And part of the symptoms have been, haven't been able to get a quorum. I don't mean you personally, I should say we haven't been able to get a quorum. Heck, we've struggled to get people even to serve on the committee. And I feel like in the 2025-26 school year, I don't know if there was ever one really genuine, robust meeting. And I know things some of the procedures have changed a little bit that hopefully would facilitate a little bit more. Instead, now it's only 2 meetings a year, right? And one of those meetings could be the report. So it's like the chicken and the egg or whatever. I don't know what we need to do, the collective we need to do first to be able to make it a reason to have it.
It's
You know what I mean?
When we got to, because it's law.
Well, we've got other citizens advisory committees. We've got, the special ed and some others who don't seem to struggle the way this one does,
I don't think they count as our official one.
Well, special ed would count. It would count. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that is, Dr. Keene does an outstanding job of facilitating that. And I think that they're real clear in their purpose.
Yeah, well, I
And
think
that's,
that
I
might-
think this broader
yeah,
one is,
yeah.
we've kind of
Well,
struggled
I
with
wondered why we're struggling to
clarifying
get
purpose.
people, well, the confusion about what the purpose is might be why people don't necessarily want to serve. On the other, but I wonder why people
Yeah.
don't attend, members aren't attending.
Right,
Is it inconvenient? I mean, if you've only got to come to 2 meetings a year, you should be able to
Right. I think it may be,
modify your
one of the
personal schedule.
Right. One of the things I would say for the Special Education Citizens Advisory Council is typically people who participate and attend that have a personal stake in that, right? They may
Yeah.
have a child who has
exactly what
an
they're on.
AP,
Yeah.
right? And Dr. Keene, again, does an outstanding job of providing learning opportunities for those who participate, right? So I think that's a real clear purpose. I think this broader one, we're struggling because the purpose is so broad.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really part of what we struggle with. And I know when it was kind of revitalized, there was a clear purpose around, trying to get schools back open, I guess.
Yeah, we were
or
coming
whatever.
out of
At the moment, it was
It was a clear, right, it was a clear mission, right? And I think this is where when Ms. McKenzie shared with me that Queen Anne's uses their strategic plan, I thought, that is sensible to me because a school system's always going to have a strategic plan. It's our improvement plan, right? We're always going to be striving to improve. That strategic plan is designed to improve our outcomes. And that's going to be eternal. Like school systems will always have an improvement plan that they're working towards. And so, continuing to seek community input and recommendations on how to make that the most.
I hate to say it like this, because if we only need one and the special education count as one, this was one of the things I just done my term. I was thinking about, like, I've talked to you about, like, do we really need this? What is the purpose? I served on it and I couldn't even articulate clearly what the purpose was when I was on it. Is it time to look at that, a citizen advisory committee, and see, is there a purpose of still continuing it if the one special ed counts as the one we need by law? Because now we have multiple. And we got people at the one, special ed CAC, special education CAC, but we don't have anyone at the general one. Maybe we need to look at, is it worth having?
I just wanted to say, co-chair, and just hearing you talk, I just feel like, they need to be just that is the main. You said that when after the pandemic, et cetera, so there was a need, and they had a topic to.
Yeah.
I feel like the reason I can't seem to in the meeting is because they're not feeling like they're not feeling like, hey, when I come, we're doing something and be productive. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And not wasting time just because. So when you talked about the math, really, because that has been something that definitely been, and I think getting multiple people perspective on that, parents, different ones, will help to solve it. Of where different parents at and how they feel about it. A lot of them are giving up on it. They feel like it's nothing. You have some people that are good at math. You have some when they change the math from how we were taught to do it, which we still can do the same. It is being given to our children, but we're told it's wrong. But the answer is not wrong.
Right.
But the way we
Process,
do
right.
it is wrong. But our children cannot see the way it's being done, but can still work a problem the way that I would do it and be successful. So if there is a new way, see, if parents could be included, I feel in order for children to be successful, many of them, some may not need it. Some may go to school and what they learn in school is enough. But many times you need to do things for extra practice. Some people need to do things more. They need to continue to practice. And, you know, the different rules and different have hands on.
Well, so you guys are meeting again on the 18th?
Yes, and as of right now, we have a quorum
Well,
based on the
maybe
responses.
at our July meeting, you can come back and tell us that plan.
Yeah.
Because we're not, well, we have a meeting next week, but it really won't be.
Yeah.
voted,
Yeah,
And there would be nothing new to add, so maybe just sort of an agenda item for
CAC
a
update.
further update, and then maybe and then another discussion about where we go from here.
Let me ask Trish, how many years has it been since it's been re-implemented? Because it was here, then it wasn't here.
Frank was not ready to
Well,
4
Lisa-
years ago. Was it 4 or 5 years ago?
Well, we were getting ready to come.
2022.
2022?
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought with John's point is just, I would like the opportunity to see one more year, given a new structure with a focus, to see how it would go before then making a final decision. Because I have other thoughts about ways that, you know, hopefully we can increase enough participation to make it meaningful. You know, I do have a realistic mindset about that, but I think it could be, I think there's a way to make it more engaging so that we could have enough to make it meaningful.
Has to be some sort of change. It's kind of a, other than being
I agree.
a point of, I don't mean this. Hand wringing.
Yes.
Sort of spinning our wheels. Does that sound like a plan? July? Yep. And be some good news.
Sounds good.
Okay, board discussion. Ms. Swanson, take it away.
For the last time. All right. First, I want to let you all know that 4 students, including myself, are flying out this Wednesday for their travel weeks for the American Exchange Project. So that's really exciting. We're all really excited, and we're so happy that this program was able to happen. So thank you to the board and Dr. McComas especially for your support and your interest throughout this process. It's been, you know, a lot of work, but I think it's going to be a really great experience for this cohort of seniors and hopefully more seniors to come. So
Can I ask, is Dr. Saunders going to stay involved? I mean, we're hopefully not going to be one and done, are we?
That's the hope, is it's going to keep going. We have Dr. Saunders and Dr. Clark DeReza, who works for the college, is also a big part of this, and she seems to be in it for the long haul. I won't, you know, hold anyone to that, but they both seem to be really excited about it, and I think it's going to be, I think it's really rewarding. We haven't had our host week yet or anything, but I'm sure Dr. Saunders will be back in the next few months to let you all know how that went. I just think it's going to be so awesome for us, and I really hope it continues. And I think it's really well organized, and it's like it's made to run really smoothly and not be a lot of work for people. It's just meant to be, you know, fun and exciting. So I think it'll keep going. I really hope so. And people, I know people in the next grade below are already getting excited and, you know, asking about how they can sign up and when. So yeah, I'm hoping it's a legacy for sure. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. I also wanted to extend a huge congratulations to Eamon. I'm really excited for you. I think this is really a perfect position for you. I know you have such a big passion for student advocacy, and I know you're really well known and well connected throughout the high school, and that you really just put your all into things and try your best and do really well, like based on how I've worked with you in the past. So I really care about this position, and I'm really happy that it's going to someone who I know also really cares about it. So congratulations, I'm really happy for you, and, you know, reach out if you ever need me. Yeah, just really happy and excited. And cry. But I don't know what to say to the rest of the board other than thank you so much. I've learned so much about myself from being on this board about working together and problem solving, asking good questions, and how hard it really is to run a school system. I've grown a lot since my first meeting 2 years ago because of the grace you've shown me, and I've been able to succeed in my role because of your encouragement to speak up and for your willingness to listen to me and to really like view me as a peer rather than some kid you have to deal with. So I really appreciate that. Even though I don't get to vote, I feel like I'm doing important work, and that's a large part because of how you value my voice and perspective. I'm just going to miss this position a lot, but I know that I've gotten so much out of it because of you all and because of our partnership. So thank you so much. Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time. Yeah, that's it.
Good job.
Good job.
Small goat, small
Small
goat.
goat.
Just have a few things I want to say. First of all, I just want to say the graduation at the high school was it was wonderful. It was a great day. Really enjoyed it. But more importantly, the baccalaureate, if I can pronounce it correctly, the night before was one of the most, I don't know how to explain it. It was wonderful. It was just beautifully done. I think that the students appreciated it, and it was just it was really nice, well attended. And the fun Friday at the middle school, I went to that Friday, and there's a lot of people that attended that. It was really wonderful. But what I want to talk about right now is development is coming in Kent County. One thing is, and this is in regards to why we need this school, the marina is going to be restored soon. We're going to get a new restaurant down there and a hotel. There's going to be jobs for students. This is going to produce jobs. There's a very, very good chance the Wawa and the development's going to come across from Walgreens from the college. I've spoken to some people up there. That's going to bring jobs. We have development at the end of Talbot Avenue for homes and Hack Drive for more homes and development for people to live. And the new middle school. All of these are going to produce jobs, which you need in this county. Our neighbors in Queen Anne's County have lots of money and are building new schools. Our neighbors in Middletown have lots of money and are building brand new schools. And here we are in the center with schools, I don't know how old, they're old. They're really old. I spoke to a commissioner in Queen Anne's County this past weekend at an event that Queen was at in Ivy. And he said the problem in Kent County is we have been against development for over 40 years. And I started thinking about that. I didn't really know what to say. He said, you guys are against development, like NIMBY. So, and one thing I want to say is that we need the 301 corridor to be completed. And to the folks who are holding this up, we need positive change. I heard they're upset about there could be more traffic at the circles going across into Millington. I mean, that has been designated as development in Kent County, and people are holding it up. We need to get it done. We need this school in Kent County. I fully support our board and our superintendent and all the staff here and everyone around the school that have made this, that can make this school possible. We live and breathe education every day. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Now, I'm gonna follow up on that county commissioner comment, because I heard the same thing, and it's just crazy how the neighboring counties view our county. They say you all just don't want it because it's there, and if you go after it, you can achieve it. So following up on that, I'll say this to you, Frank, because sometimes people don't give you your just due when you do stand up for the school. Sometimes I think, I don't want to use the word they pick on you when you're trying to do good, but that initiative you have started with us standing with the signs is keeping it on the front of people's mind. I just rolled past, I done a week out there with you, and then I just rolled past Friday. It was 2 board members.
Because it can't be more.
Yes, of course. We didn't buy anything. It was only 2. It was only 2.
And you were honking loud.
Yes, it was a county commissioner, Commissioner Price, and it was the mayor of Chestertown on the corner on a Friday evening in rush hour. So, look, if anyone wants to stand on the corner and support our middle school and public school system, rah-rah, reach out to Frank, because he got all the signs, and they're popping up around town, and they're in yards as well. So I want you to know, from me, kudos to that, because you're keeping it going. A lot of people can come to the end of their term and just be like, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna fight no more about it. But you're actually outside still fighting for it. So good job with that, Frank. I appreciate that.
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes, I want to start off by congratulating Alden.
Mob goat,
So
mob goat.
successful as far as school, job well done. And now on to the next chapter. And I know that you're going to be successful. And I just thankful for you being, since I've known you.
Thank you.
Pray that everything goes well. I also want to congratulate all the retirees and those that may be leaving for whatever reason. We thank you for your service
Yes.
and support for our children all these years. And dedication, investing in. And I thank you. And I also thank those because it's the end of the school year. For those that are still with us, that are also dedicated, those that have given their time. We appreciate you for having a heart for our children, investing in them, and having their best interests.
Ms. McKenzie?
Sure,
Excuse me. I thank whomever made it possible for me to get my grandson his diploma. That was a great experience. Grandmother, that was my first graduate. So grand graduate. So I just thank God for that opportunity.
Thank you. I also just echoing a lot of similar things. Alden, your speech was awesome. I just wanted to tell you that really one of the best graduation speeches I've ever heard. It was very precious and just how you tied your beginning years towards the end. It was very thoughtful and meaningful, and just the way you connected with everybody was beautiful. It really was. It was very special to be a part of that and just to hear it. And the baccalaureate service was wonderful, student-led, student parent-led, and that was a beautiful night. And I appreciate the fact that there can be those opportunities. We have a diverse population of students, and it's nice when students are able to be themselves. And yeah, the night at the middle school on Friday, yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been more engaging and better organized, and just really appreciate all the efforts that go towards those events. It really is something special and unique, I believe, here for us. And that's that.
Kind of sad to say goodbye to you, Alden. I feel like I've watched your mom grow up. Now I've watched you grow up. 2 years, no one's ever done back-to-back before.
Mob goat.
That's really wonderful. And Eamon's been, he's been prepping for this. He's been coming to the meetings. He came with Dr. Fluke for about a year. And then, he went on Broadway and SpongeBob, but he's back. So, he was Scar before that. So, he's going to have a commanding presence and a commanding voice. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm making light of this, but there were once or twice where the two men sitting between you and me got into it a couple of times. We had to anchor it down. You were going to take care of Frank, and I was going to take care of John. And they got we had the man covered. So your speech was. I found myself, but that anecdote about the tea party. No, I know. I wanted to cry because and Miss Williams was sitting behind that student. She said that she just watched his whole demeanor change, like he was so proud of himself for the way you made him a part of your speech. I told Miss Hemstetter that Saturday morning I had two different people come up to me to talk about how great graduation was, and the word they used was it was a community vibe. And that's, I think you can do that when you have 120 kids. You can say something about it. She knew something about every single kid, not the least of which is five of our young men are joining the military, and the state of the world right now is they may see combat, you know, I mean, that's a very serious sacrifice that they're making now. I also want to thank Frank for taking the lead on the middle school and, you know, with the signs, the hard hat, asking tough questions, calling me now just to vent, which I appreciate. I got a call this morning. I'm just calling to vent and I listened to him. So much of our energy right now has been focused on the middle school. And I'm going to say as the president of this board, I'm really grateful and proud that we've stayed together, that we have not backed down at all in the face of public pressure. I mean, and sort of we're in a, I don't want to say adversarial, but we're in a battle. And the two newest board members came onto a situation that you didn't create, and you could have easily said that was a decision you made and we're not making it, and you haven't done that. And I know that it's been gratifying to Dr. McComas to have our support, and I mean, think how difficult it would be for a superintendent if she had a divided board on this issue. So, I mean, we definitely are stronger united, and I think I'm going to be optimistic that Dr. McComas always tells me she's a half full kind of gal, and I'm always saying I'm a half empty kind of gal, but I'm looking at a half full glass right now.
Okay.
So I'm not willing to give up. But I just want to say again, I really appreciate our board. I appreciate how different we are, but that in the most important things, we all are united in what our priorities are in line with each other. And I just want to say again, Alden, you're not to be in any way disrespectful to who's coming behind you, but you've been a very strong board member who, Eamon, here's a perfect example. She followed a rock star when in Maddie Messick's, and you're getting ready to be able to do the same thing. I'm absolutely convinced of that you're going to create your own identity, and in a year, we're going to be saying these exact same things about you. So I look forward to you starting on, hopefully we'll see you at the July meeting. Is that true? All righty.
1 o'clock. He started.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all righty. So with that being said, I just want to remind everybody of our next meeting. The next meeting of the board will be a quarterly meeting, which will be held next Monday, June 15th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. The board will immediately move to closed session, and the open session will resume at about 6 p.m. The next regularly scheduled monthly board meeting will be held, Eamon, this is important for you, Monday, July 13th, okay? You don't have to be here till 6:30, okay? All righty. Same routine, you know, we'll open an open session, we'll go into closed session, we'll come back, starting at 6:30. The open session, the meeting will be located at the administrative building in the boardroom, 5608 Boundary Avenue, Rock Hall. I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Rhodes has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mackenzie made the second. Is there any discussion? All righty, is your last
Wait, I
official?
got one thing.
Okay.
Mob goats. Mob.
As Alden's last official act and the rest of us, I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.